Hey there guys, this is Obsidian Chill. Got another video for you today. This is going to be a two-part feat video for the Batcave Breach, which is the 4-player alert, a part of the Batman Metal Part 1 DLC. The first part is going to be the Batcave Libre feat, which is basically doing the first section of the alert, the Batcave section, in less than 7 minutes. And the second part of the feat is going to be Sock'em, which is basically killing Sinestro before the robot has a chance to win a round. So we also have Seb from Elusive of the Villain League helping us out. That's why we had that player change in the beginning, because we can't queue up. It's not effect. Obviously, we can't queue up with the villain. It's cross faction. We have to invite him. In terms of strategies, it's simply just a DPS check for this B feat. There's a couple of things you can skip. The ideal setup, you don't need necessarily a tank. The best setup is to go with a healer and just 3 DPS. If you take a healer and a tank, obviously you're not going to have the damage. So you're essentially just killing the bots in the beginning, turning the cogs, and essentially racing down. You can skip the ads. One person has to get the Nightwing. Usually it's either the first DPS there or the healer, because they can kind of pop a shield, but you want to get Nightwing. Then you want to run into this section here. Ideally, what you want to do is have the first player that run ahead to kind of aggro or start to attack the ads, so they draw in the ads from the back. As you can see, we had all the ads in the center, so we were able to get a nice bunker on them. We were able to get our supercharges and orbitals on them, which makes this part of the room go very quickly, because you can't progress until the ads and those turrets are dead. Then the shield armor's in the back there, so then basically you're just talking to Robin, and then we're skipping ahead to be able to run to the first boss, the Custodian. But it's just, you can save a lot of time in that past room just by grouping the ads successfully, not having them all spread out, just to be able to have your orbitals and supercharges be maximum potential. So in terms of the first boss fight here, there's really nothing special in terms of tactics. All it is just burning. You're burning him down, making sure obviously you're not dropping orbitals or supplies during when he's going to shield phase. So at the beginning or just after he becomes up, just so you're not obviously wasting damage. But yeah, it's just a straight single target armory. That's why I'm single target the entire time. And then basically he'll shield very quickly, obviously, because of the damage you're doing. And in terms of CR, obviously we're a little bit higher. I'm 279. I don't have any vendor gear at all. I'm just wearing blues and purples. I would imagine 7 Versal have some sort of vendor gear as well. But, same thing. It's not like you need to be high geared to this B feat. This B feat was done day 1. This is just I didn't have a chance to record it in the first beginning. And then obviously after a few days, everyone's going to be getting geared anyway. So in terms of the power sets in here, Versal's obviously nature, Seb is gadgets, and I am munitions. And then no dangers the hero, obviously, but he's doing some flurry shot for a little bit more extra single target damage. But yeah, in terms of strategy, there's really no strategy for this first part. This first boss is where all the damage comes from. So it's essentially you just want to kill the ads as quick as possible so that he can absorb them, go into his next phase. But the bulk of your time, because the Bane Fight goes pretty quick, and I'll show you the strategy we use for that to speed it up a bit. But the bulk of your fight is going to be on the Custodian. So this is kind of where it's going to make or break your fight here, with how long it takes to, not so much how long it takes to fight, it's just because of all his phases. And you can see a few times here I'm getting knocked around in power channeling, because in power channeling it chooses not to work half the time, which is the frustrating aspect from that. And the other drag that the Batcave, our Custodian could have been so much better. I covered it in my alert video when I talked about it on test server, but they don't have any of the OMACs in here. So the OMACs were the most powerful bosses to have for the Doomspin and everything, but the Shield OMAC and the OMAC Prime and the other regular OMAC, they didn't even have them in sub bosses, which is kind of a shame, because now it's just Rocket Barrage, his Cuff'em from the Arrestor drone. I think there's the Blast one. But yeah, we killed this. So basically what you want to do here is have everyone stand back here except the healer. Have the healer run ahead, and then to start the Bane Fight, and you'll see why in a second here. Don't worry about the ads killing here. It's just ideally you don't want the tricky thing here is if there are ads that you haven't killed yet, they can attack the healer or get in combat, so then they move slower. It didn't happen in this case, but it is a possibility that it could happen. but you'll see here in a moment. Oh, the other thing I was mentioning, the cutscenes don't count towards the speed feat, so even if you're at like 7 minutes and 10 seconds, doesn't matter, you're still fine. As you can see there, the healer ran ahead. And now you can see that defeat Bane pops up. So that means the cutscene has started. And now we're going to see we're running in here. And because the cutscene is going on right now, I think it was Seb actually ran ahead. But it does matter, just someone who's not going to be in combat. As you can see here, Bane pops out. Seb is still going to be in the cutscene for a few seconds, and we can start to attack. So basically, it just saves us a little bit of time, because if you didn't have this, if all three were in the room at once, then the cutscene is still playing out. Where at least with this time, you can get up, I think it's like 6 or 7 seconds of free DPSing while the cutscene started, because you can attack Bane while he's in it. Positioning wise, other than that, there's no strategy at all for the Bane fight. It's just you want to stay in position. Bane's going to run towards the edge of the wall, so the closer you're in the center, you just not have to worry about missing powers or being able to lunge in. As you can see, again, at a range a couple times, but that's all it is. Obviously, if he's running towards the wall, don't drop your orbital because it's going to miss in terms of supply drop, stuff like that. But other than that, the only strategy for this fight is just at the beginning with the cutscene. And as you can see there, Batcave Breach, 25 feet points. And I think it was like on the scorecard, it was like 6 minutes 45 seconds. I think I'll pop it up here in a second, but really it was like 6 minutes 20 seconds or something like that with the actual time DPSing. The rest was just cutscene. So the second part for the Sockham feat, there's two ways you can approach this. You can either do what we're going to do with 4 DPS, because you don't need a healer. It's just basically full burn. If you don't have the damage wise to do this, because we're just doing like supercharges, I have a big gun crit for like 450k. If you don't want to just like mash DPS, you can still do it. You just have to make sure you lunge when Sinestro is going to cage Hal Jordan, and he's going to empower his robot. You have to make sure you lunge Sinestro so he doesn't do that. We let it go here because obviously we've got the damage burn, but if you don't have that, just make sure the most important thing is to lunge Sinestro and to destroy any of the turrets that come up. So we're not worrying about the turrets because we can just kind of just go straight burn and kill him in, I think it was like 40 seconds or something like that. But if you don't have the damage to get this feat, then lunge Sinestro, like see how we just encased Hal Jordan? Don't let him do that. And then see the turret was up, we just ignored the turret because we knew we had the burn. Don't do that either. So basically kill the turrets, lunge Sinestro so he doesn't encase Hal Jordan, so Hal Jordan can power his bot, and that's it. So like I said, 2 different ways depending on how your group's set up. Either you can just mash DPS on it like we did here, or you can lunge Sinestro and kill the turrets the second they spawn. So kill the turrets, lunge Sinestro, that's how you get the feat. Sockham, 25 feat points.